YouTube, Grandpa's back. Hey everybody, this is Minion70. I'm going to start this video out today. I've had a lot of people talk to me, asking questions about this, that, or the other, history, about myself. I get to gather a better rapport with people and commonalities amongst each other. And normally I don't give out too much information about myself. I just do my thing. The most information is I'm a backward country boy, lived all my life on the farm. But for the sake of those asking the questions, I'll do this video today and let you know a little bit of history about myself. Some of you may not be of interest, and I understand that, but there are those that have been asking. So in order to be more comforting to those and possibly a better rapport, I'll do the information. So I'm going to try to wrap this up in a nutshell, and I apologize because I'm a pastor. I don't know if many of you know that, but I am a pastor, and I tend to get long-winded sometimes, so I'll apologize ahead of time, but I'll go as quick as I can. So let's see, where do we start? We start back in this little hick town called Williamsburg, Missouri. I was conceived and hatched out there on a 3,800-acre farm. We farm for the public as well as for ourselves, be it hay or our fruits, vegetables, whatever. I had a relatively decent upcoming myself. I'm a chronic asthmatic, so there was a lot of things that I couldn't do or wasn't allowed to do for fear of asthma issues. And I can understand, but I still do what I want, when I want, how I want, so it's irrelevant now. I know my limitations today, so I know what I can and can't do. But anyway, let's see. From the age of 12, let's go into employment. At the age of 12, the tail end of 12, I could almost just simply say I was 13, but like a lot of youth, I did a paper route, and I did paper route from the time I was tail end of 12, beginning of 13 until I was 16. When I was 16, I got my first lawful employment where I could legally work. I used to make toys, and I made the Popper toy. It's just a little ball with eyes. Now they put eyes on it. Back in the 70s, they didn't have the eyes, but it was just a ball with wheels with a big long handle. You push the handle and turn the wheels, and the little popper would pop on the inside, blowing the balls all around on the inside of the plastic. I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. And we also used to make, back in the 70s, 76, 75, 76, 77, somewhere around in there, we made a toy that was called the Inchworm. And it had just a little saddle and everything, and you would, to make it go, you'd bounce on the saddle and it would move along. So that was fun. But when I was 18, I had been studying from the age of 16 until I was 18. I studied until I had it all down pat on getting my chauffeur's license, and I had every endorsement from the age of 18 with the exception of driving a bus, mainly because I never seen myself driving a bus and didn't see any need in it, but it actually at one point come in handy later on in life. But anyway, so I went from making toys to driving trucks. But keep in mind, raised on the farm, from the age of 9, I'd been driving various automobiles, tractors, and a cat, and semi trucks, dump trucks, stuff like that on the farm, doing the farm stuff. Whether I was hauling hay or hauling grain or whatever. So it's not like I just jumped into it and said, okay, I'm going to do this because I think in my mind I can. I had practice for several years growing up, from the age of 9 clear up until I was 18, to be legal. And I went through this schooling and everything with flying colors, which was a big plus for me because I already had that information under my belt. But I was confused with two different companies when I turned 18 on which companies I wanted to drive for legally. And I don't know why I said legally, because both of them was legal. There was nothing illegal about it. But anyway, one company I hauled electronics out of Collierville, Tennessee, and another company I hauled steel and or brick. And the battle trying to decide which one was which, it kind of worked out perfect because I got accepted with both of them at the same time. Now, when I hauled electronics, I drove a Volvo. Started out with a 1984 Volvo and ended up in 94, 10 years difference later on. When I finally retired, I was in a '07. But anyway, the Volvo I drove, I pulled, I won't name the company, but I pulled for a company and I hauled electronics. Toasters, toaster ovens, microwaves, coffee pots, stuff like that. And I delivered mainly for the Kmart's until Kmart started downsizing. And then they got the contract to deliver with Walmart. But at any rate, the other company actually turned out to be kind of like a part-time job because I did that mainly on the weekends and every once in a while through the week, depending on what was going on with the main company that I was pulling for. And I hauled steel one direction, and then I would haul brick going the opposite direction. So that was a lot of fun. I think it was in the early '90s. I got married. My first wife ended up getting married, and I had a little boy. His name was Caleb, and he passed away in 1991. And things went south from there. And to make a long story short, we ended up getting a divorce. But my current wife, we hitched up in '94, tail end of '94. Well, our anniversary is March 26th, and we just celebrated 20 years. Now it's a little over 20 years. So I think that's wonderful, and she's been thick and thin. She's been right there, all the highs and the lows, just like the vows you take when you get married. It's kind of hard to find a couple anymore these days that's together more than 10 days. They get it in their head that, I don't have to deal with this, and poof, they're gone. Well, if you love a person enough that you want to get married, and it's for the sick, for rich or for poor, sickness and health and all that good kind of stuff, we decided early on that if we decided we didn't want to be together, something was amuck, and we didn't want to continue, that we both agreed that there's no need in putting the other one through the turmoil with separation or divorce. And we would just go on our separate way, But we also had agreed to be adults about the whole thing, and if we had complications somewhere along the line, which every relationship does, I don't care who you are, where you're at, what you're doing, what your lifestyle may be, you're going to run into hiccups now and then. But we sat down like adults when we ran into those issues. We talked about it. We worked out our differences, and here it is over 20 years later. We're still together, and I still wouldn't trade her for nothing. I tease her sometimes that I'd like to trade her in for 220s, but I don't know what to do with what I got. So what in the hell am I going to do with 220s? Let's see. I'm now grandpa, as I've said before. Was a little girl, Sierra Michelle. Very, very proud about that. Very, very excited. Very, very happy. And I think it was 91. I've been strong with the church and activities pertaining to church and stuff like that. And I became a pastor. I've been a pastor for several years. I don't go around trying to preach to people. That's not how I operate. And it's aggravating to me when I see other pastors that do that. They'll come knock on your door, invite themselves to dinner, and want to preach to you on how you're supposed to live your life and stuff like that. And that's not how I operate. I got 2 ears. I'm willing to listen. I got 2 shoulders. If you want to cry on, I'm willing to hold and comfort. Or if you just want to have a conversation, I'm fine with that. But I'm not going to press the issue. I'm not going to come to you and say, hey, I think you need to find Jesus, because that's, like I said, that's not how I roll. But I'm always willing to have conversation if that's what you choose. Gaming, I've been a severe gaming freak for a long time. I had the Atari 2600 way back, and then the 5200 a little bit after that, and I went to the Sega Genesis, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and preparing for PlayStation 4. And I've had so many games, and I still got a lot of the old Nintendo games that still operate, still, the original Nintendo. So I'm kind of happy about that, kind of proud about that. There's some of them that I'll take a trip down memory lane, and pop it in there and play. But it's so funny now to look at the stick figures and stuff that we had then to the graphics and everything of today's modern technology. It's just an awesome transition from there to now. So I really do thoroughly enjoy racing and smashing up and stuff like that. I really get my kicks on. I used to drive oval track. I used to race cars. I drove what they call the Hornet division, which is a 4-cylinder front wheel drive mostly, unless you get like a Pinto or a Gremlin, something like that that's rear wheel drive, but still the 4-cylinder cars. And I raced for a good long time until I was in a fiery crash, and I was fighting for 4th position, and the laps were winding down, and I was trying everything I could to get around this old boy, and he got frustrated with me because twice I jumped up and tapped him on the bumper to let him know I was there. Get out of the way, lead, follow, or get out of the way, you know. He was leading and I didn't like following, so both always tried to take up the same amount of real estate in the same area, and it didn't work out so well. He gave me a brake check. I tried to avoid him, spun the car out, and I hit the wall backward at a little over 95 miles an hour. And I ended up hitting my head so hard on the brain fart, on the cross member from behind me, with the roll cage and everything. I hit so hard it cracked my helmet and gave me a concussion. So physically I was taken out of the car for a good while, and I tried to hire somebody to keep my car running and stuff like that, but that didn't work out because they couldn't drive. But to make a long story short there, I ended up, a couple years ago, I ended up selling out. I love motorcycles. I used to ride, my first motorcycle was a 175 Yamaha dirt bike. Dirt street, you know, it had turn signals and everything, but the knobbies and everything where I could ride on the dirt, and I really enjoyed that. And that's moved in all the way up to the Harley of today. I got an 05 Sportster, 883 Sportster, and my wife has a 650 Bergman Suzuki, and I got traffic. I apologize. Got traffic running up and down the road in front of my house. But anyway, we like to ride. We love to travel. We snowbird for years. And we would always come we'd leave Missouri and come to Arizona in the wintertime. And it's about 2 years now that we discovered the area where we're at on a snowbird episode, and then we ended up purchasing and ended up staying here. You know, girls moved out, now we're grandma and grandpa, and, you know, life moves on, and we wanted to be comfortable. And for my personal health, I'm a chronic asthmatic, so Arizona, with the low humidity and everything, it's just the best state for me to be. So it worked out for us there. But I don't know if there's anything else that I could run over. I love to race. I love to laugh. I love to joke. I love to have fun. And I know you don't see a whole lot of that on camera, but really I am. And if you got to know me more and more as a person, as an individual, you'd see that as well. But gearing up, I'm getting ready to make a video on some Grand Theft Auto gameplay, so I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be exciting. And I finally figured out, me and my wife, after pushing a bunch of buttons on the last video, you may see where I had put my name across the bottom of the screen there. So I got some of the workings done on sprucing up the place, so to speak, you know. And again, I'll ask, like I did on that one, I'll ask if you have any comments that you want to leave, and ask me or tell me what you think would be better, how this would be this way, that way, or the other. And if the facelift worked for you, it works for me. I like it a lot. Red's my favorite color, so I did it in red. But if you want to leave a comment and tell me a little bit about yourself, or what have you, or better ways to upgrade my channel, I'd appreciate it if you like, subscribe, you know, help me grow, help others grow, you know, and it's because it really helps all of us YouTubers. It's not just a few select. The more subscribers, the bigger you grow, the bigger entertainment you can come up with. And I apologize for now because it's just an old goat sitting here talking on the computer. But that will be changing actually relatively quick because, like I said, I'm getting ready to do some Grand Theft Auto gameplay, and I'm going to try see how that works out by recording and see where we go from there. I can't do live streaming yet, but that's coming in the near future. I'm just about over that little hump of, oh my goodness, can something finally work out for me here? And it's actually starting to work out in my favor. So won't be much longer. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that I'll be out of this little hole and back on the road. So I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. Like I said, if you have anything that you want to talk to me about, or any way you think I could spruce up my channel a little better and make it a better channel for all, leave a comment. Let me know. I'll take that in consideration and see if I can't wrap my old brain around it to figure it out and have that accomplished. So until then, you guys have an absolutely wonderful day. It's gloomy here. We're about ready to have some more rain. It's the end of the monsoon season, thank God. And we've got like 3 days of rain left. So hopefully that'll all pass and move on. I've seen rain, and it gets old after a while. But I still don't miss the snow and the ice from Missouri. The rain's kind of a good thing, though, because it's cooled the temperature down by about 20-25 degrees, so that makes a big difference. It was, usually it floats around 106 to 113 degrees here at any given time. And the hottest I've ever seen it was 122. And I'm serious, it was 122 degrees, 110 in the shade. That's not just a cliche. That was a real thing. But yeah, I'll shut up now. You guys have an absolutely wonderful day, and catch you on the flip side.